In the event of a disaster, you and your loved ones need a plan. In order to make an informed decision, you need to know your options. Hurricane season is upon us, and Polk County Emergency Management has some tips that are going to help you get through the season. All the details are up next on Polk Place. Welcome to Polk Place. I'm your host, Brian Lacey, and joining me in studio is Paul Womble. He is the Emergency Management Director. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Brian.
You know, it's that time of season every year, just like clockwork, from June 1st to November 1st.
In the November hurricane season.
End of November,
yeah.
Wow.
So, and we've already had one named storm this year in May, so that June to November thing is typically the storm season, but it could be a little before. We've seen in the past after, so it's half our year, at least half of our year, and folks need to be ready.
Let's talk a little bit first about what emergency management does for the folks that really may be new to the county or may not be aware of what emergency management is.
So our division is part of the county's public safety group. Within our division, we really have three distinct programs. Two of those are related to behind the scenes response. One of those is our 911 addressing and administration program. They maintain the 911 system, the equipment, the databases, the maps, and we administer the county's addressing ordinance, and that to make sure that addresses align so responders can find you in an emergency. Which goes along with the second part, our radio services program. They maintain the county's public safety radio system. Every responder, all the response agencies, even volunteer nonprofit groups like Red Cross, Public Works, we can all talk, which in a lot of places that doesn't happen. So that's important in big disasters, but the day-to-day response of the sheriff's office, most police departments, county fire, that's the system they're using that system right now to respond to 911 calls in emergency. So we maintain that, plus a whole host of other communications and radio-related programs and projects for the county.
And one thing that folks may not realize is that 911 or the radio system itself is a mobile unit, and when disasters strike elsewhere throughout the state of Florida, and I know they've gone to the Panhandle, I know they've gone to Mississippi.
Mississippi, yep.
Talk a little bit about the importance of that mobile unit.
Yeah, so the radio shop can take those services on the road. Typically that's along with the sheriff's office task force if they deploy to another area to help after a disaster. Last year to the Panhandle after Hurricane Michael, the folks shop in the sheriff's office actually went to 3 different counties. There were 3 separate mutual aid requests that they went. So the radio shop can take a portable 800 system, they can take equipment, they can take the technicians. In Michael in the Panhandle, the public safety radio systems were down. The storm blew down towers, knocked cell phone towers. I mean, there was no cellular service, even as far east as Tallahassee. So when you can't talk, the guys can take and set up portable communications. In Mississippi, after Hurricane Katrina, the Polk County portable radio system was the only public safety, only communication system for a month in Hancock County, Mississippi, until other normal systems could start to be restored.
One of the things that makes your job easier is the Board of County Commissioners is behind every facet of what you do, giving you the tools to accomplish the mission of keeping the folks in Polk County safe. Going back 15 years ago to the hurricanes of 2004, we had an out-of-date, really emergency operations center, and they invested, and when you guys built this new one, it is still kind of the gem of, I would say, the state of Florida when it comes to emergency operations centers.
Yeah, the EOC is the place where if all the other systems are down, we can't communicate, there's damage. That's the single place where our senior officials, elected folks, and the staff from all the agencies in the cities and the team come together to really coordinate the response countywide. So yeah, in '04 that was in a building for 3 storms, in a building that was a temporary location where we had to drag out tables and pull down telephone lines out of the ceiling just was not optimum. So yeah, the board has supported what we do. Public safety is the #1 priority of the board. So our group, our emergency management division and program is part of that.
Let's talk staff. You yourself, you still got that new director smell, and and of course, you've got new staff over there. Let's talk about the different jobs the individuals do.
So yeah, I've been promoted to the director for a little over a year and a half now. We have, again, the 3 programs, so each one of those programs has a manager and their associated staff. In our emergency management program, which is the 3rd piece with radio and 911, that's the traditional preparedness, planning, training, exercises, the disaster stuff, if you will. So we have a staff there, a program manager, Greg Becker is our program manager, and then we have special needs coordinator, which we'll talk about our special needs program today. That's one of the most important things we need to talk about today and make sure everyone understands. Billy Abernathy's the EOC coordinator. His job is to make sure the place is ready. And then Jerry Kaplan is our planner. And then we have one secretary and one physical analyst that really makes the shop go, makes the whole program go. Honestly, the back end help that they provide and everything that we have to do there.
Well, one of the things that you say that constantly, the planning. We're in the season, a little bit early into it, but it's never too early to plan. Let's talk about some of the things that the residents need to know and really get prepared for this storm season.
So for hurricane season, I mean, again, it's at least 6 months out of our year. We don't have storm surge in Polk County. You hear a lot about that, to know your zone in the coastal counties. That's the water that comes up on the coast from a storm. We don't have beach here, oceanfront, so we're good there. But we still should plan, really what our hurricane planning for residents should be, and business owners, should be about wind, high wind, areas that historically flood, and that's primarily from rain. You know, if you get 4 inches of rain in an hour, there's many places in Polk County where the water is going to back up. If you get more than that, or if you get 10, 12, 14 inches of rain over a day or two, which could happen from even just a tropical storm, that amount of rain will cause flooding, and there's no way to map that out so people can look it up on a map. It would just depend on where the rain fell and how much it would, how short of a time. So have a plan around those things. Power outage is the #1 thing. I think for Hurricane Irma in 2017 here, out in the community, I've talked to several folks that were out 13 days, 12 days, 14 days, 2 weeks. And that's what your plan should be around, at least a week to be self-sustaining, which means you may have no power. If you went home, if you turned the power off in your house, the people watching at home, if your power went off right now, what can't you do?
For 13 days.
Yeah, and then multiply that for 13 days. That's the mindset you should use for your plan. Now, if you live in substandard housing, some type of houses that could be impacted by the winds, and that includes mobile homes, RVs, campers, are in those areas, again, that historically flood, or if it's just somewhere you don't feel safe. Newer homes, concrete block homes, those are typically designed to meet some wind load. Because we don't have evacuation zones, we still have hurricane shelters. So our evacuation policy in the county, again, is based on wind and flooding rainfall. If you don't need to evacuate, stay home. If you do need to evacuate, then plan A for you should be a family member, a friend, a coworker, a church member, someone that doesn't, and go there. Our hurricane shelters can be very crowded. We set records in Hurricane Irma. So you could be in a school hallway or a classroom with lots of other people, and typically those shelters, the public shelters, don't have generators. I think all but 3 or 4 of our public shelters that were open in Irma lost power at some point. So it's going to be uncomfortable. They're there, they're a last choice, last resort. They're there for a reason, because we know there's a lot of people in the county that is their plan, and that's why we have that program. But those things should be really part of your hurricane plan.
I want you to just briefly state, I know that through Polk County Sheriff's Office Animal Services and of course SPCA Humane Society, talk about the importance. I mean, you're going to make a plan for your family. you better make a plan for your pets too. Talk about the importance of
And
that.
in most cases, that's part of the family. Yeah, include your pets. We have up to three pet-friendly shelters that we can open. Again, they're in schools. It is a partnership with Sheriff's Office Animal Control and the Polk County School Board, who is probably the most important partner that we have when it comes to hurricane sheltering and everything we do. The schools, it's their facilities, their staff, they run them. But yeah, pets. Have a plan. Those pet-friendly shelters require a carrier for your animals. It's domesticated animals only. They want to see proof that they've had rabies shots, and they'll have some supplies, but bring your pet food. Bring a leash, because you'll be able to, expected to walk your pet, take them outside, and then they stay in the carrier. So even though they're billed as pet-friendly, that's about people who won't evacuate or don't have a place to go, or that feel that they don't have another option because of pets. So they do. They can bring their pets and come to our shelters.
One of the things that I really want to cover 2 years ago, prior to Irma hitting, some of us here from PGTV got assigned to work the special needs facilities. And that is an incredible partnership between the health department, Citrus Connection, and a whole bunch of other entities. Talk specifically about making a plan for those special needs folks and what we have to offer them.
So the special needs program is for people that need help in some type of emergency, typically a hurricane. It could be other hazards that we have. Medical issues, power dependency with, again, there's a lot of medical equipment out there that keeps folks at home, keeps them out of facilities, keeps them alive and well, and that's what needs power. So if when power's on, it's okay. But again, we just talked about planning for up to 2 weeks without power at home. If you have a medical equipment that has to have power, then that won't work, obviously. So again, plan A should be make arrangements, with family and friends and that kind of plan. But if you can't do that, then we want you to register in our special needs program. You can do that by calling our office. Information's on the county website. We'll have all that up so they can see. But if you need that help, you mentioned Citrus Connection. So when you register, one of the questions that's asked is, do you need transportation? There are a lot of people in this situation I'm describing in Polk County that live in a mobile home, live alone, have some medical equipment that needs power to keep them alive and well, and that's really the people that we would like to get in the program. Even if it's a second option, that's okay. Helps us plan the staff, from county staff and Department of Health staff. Overall, there's about 800 folks that have been assigned some part of the special needs program, and it takes us about 6 months. We just finished the last training session for all of those shelter workers, all of those folks that would answer phones, about a week ago. So that started in January. So it takes us 6 months to get ready for the hurricane season. So we're doing hurricane season all year long.
Last but not least, it takes a partnership. So many people that help the residents and visitors of Polk County remain safe, whether it be EOC staff, whether it be our nonprofits. Talk about the importance of the work that goes into protecting these individuals.
Yeah, it is a team effort. The job of the County Emergency Management Agency is to be a facilitator and a coordinator. In the EM program specifically, the programmatic folks, including me, there's 6. We bring in the 911 addressing staff to help run the EOC, and the radio folks are making sure responders can talk, that the radio system's on the air and working, and that we can communicate. So in a hurricane, we tie up the entire division making things go. That doesn't open the first shelter and staff it. That doesn't conduct the first search and rescue mission. That doesn't move people. That doesn't provide commodities, water and food after a storm. Doesn't assess the damage. Doesn't do the financial reimbursement and the government recovery process from FEMA, which takes years and years. So those are all assignments and jobs and responsibilities of all the agencies, that, county agencies and the cities. We work very closely with the cities. Really in hurricane mode, it's one big team, countywide, working together. We coordinate that, but without all those other individuals and agencies and organizations that are out there, and that's where the residents fall in. You can't depend on the government to do everything. A lot of folks learned, we heard a lot after Irma about the lack of support, how difficult the bureaucratic process of getting FEMA assistance is after a disaster. The most you can get, it changes a little bit each year. The maximum, if you got 100% of the federal money after a presidentially declared disaster, was about $38,000. Their programs are never designed to make you completely whole or better than before the storm. And a lot of folks don't understand that. So insurance, understanding how that program works, and again, it's a disaster, it's a bad day, and so those things should be part of your plan as well. As are you insured? Who is your agent? What does your insurance policy, homeowners or business policy, or even renters insurance, how does it work? What's your deductible? What does it not cover? Those are all preparedness questions everybody should take a look at home and make sure that they know the answers to those questions.
Paul, I'm going to give you the last word. People shouldn't be inspired to get ready for a hurricane. They should be prepared. Talk to those individuals and let them know why this needs to go down.
Again, it's 6 months out of our year when something could happen. It will be potentially a very bad day for you, your family, your business. Having a plan is important. I mean, there's other hazards that we have that could strike with little or no notice. We had some wind damage just last night from a severe thunderstorm in the northeast part of Polk County, and that doesn't give us the days or weeks or months as hurricane season does to plan. So it's really about making sure you and your family are safe, your business is going to recover and stay open after a storm, but really about being safe. So understanding if you do need to get out of the structure you're in, that you live in, your house, you know how that works. You've got that figured out up front, and that you're ready. This is paradise. We went a long time before the 2004 hurricane season, decades without a storm, and then we had 3 in 1 year, and then we went almost another decade without anything. But then Florida has had storms in 16, 17, 18. So the trend, unfortunately, is that we're back in an active storm season, and it only takes one.
Well, Paul, thanks for coming in. I really appreciate your time. And with any luck this year, I only get to see you in passing.
Yes, agreed. It would be great not to see you, Brian.
Polk County Emergency Management wants you to be prepared this hurricane season. Potential threats from hurricanes include powerful winds, heavy rainfall, coastal and inland flooding, rip currents, tornadoes, and landslides. The Atlantic hurricane season runs through November 30th. It's important to create a kit of supplies that you can take with you if you are forced to evacuate. This kit will also be useful if you are able to stay in your home but are still affected by the storms, such as through the loss of power. Now, if you prepare your kit ahead of time, you can alleviate a lot of the potential stress of a very chaotic situation. Now, if you need more information on hurricane preparedness, go to www.polk-county.net or give Polk County Emergency Management a call at 863-298-7000.